I planned on this week first, second, and third to release review of the Scarie Movie franchise because today came out the sixth one, I guess. Not entirely sure. But I had to go to the dentist and the result is depressing. It put up, the I don't know, Hungary calls it a crown. I don't know what's it in English, a fake tooth. It's too long. It's just too long. I can't bite as I could. It's like a thin plastic but very rigid plastic thing in between my teeth, and it's just horrible. It's anyway. So it took away too much time, and it put me into quite a depression. And before you ask, no, depression is not an emotional mood. It's a physical thing. Your entire body just shuts down and just doesn't want to work. It's bad. But anyway, I was watching a review on Brooklyn Graves Productions channel about Heresy. I guess it's a new thing. The review came out 1 day ago, so I guess, but I didn't really look up the movie because it's one of those folk horror movies which I hate with a passion. I mean, I avoid them like the plague. And there are a couple of reasons why this is. First is they are always slow. I'm sorry, I'm not the TikTok generation, but I still want some speed in my movies most of the times. I mean, there are exceptions, but I just not prefer my movies to be slow. The other thing is, all of them are very obvious allegory. It's parental issues, or racism is bad, or negligence is bad, or grief, they are working through grief or something like that. Boo-hoo, grow up. That's too simplistic. I'm fine with metaphors. I like a good metaphor. But I don't want that to be the surface script. Put it in the subtext. And, the other thing is, we can debate who are the good guys. I mean, good guys. Most of these, like that with Midsommer or something, the girl with the flower glory on her head, and everybody was killing themselves, and she killed her friends. But I couldn't root for her because she just entered the cult. So fuck you. And I can't root for the friends either because they were nasty. Just fuck you. So why should I care about the movie if I have no anchor point? And I don't mind a strictly evil protagonist even. Like House of 1,000 Corpses 2. Evil protagonist. Absolutely loved them. They are not even, grey characters like Thelma&Louise. And if you saw both, you know the and are practically the same. Thelma&Louise were grey characters. Like a newer movie was Monster. The lesbian couple, one of them was the killing truck drivers for money, and so they were grey characters. Their actions were evil, but I mean, the monster part of the monster was evil, the actions, but the intentions were absolutely agreeable. That was a good movie. And when you are fighting a monster, one thing is why I like fighting the monster trope, core of every horror movie, I mean the horror genre, is you can disassociate. But sometimes the monster wins. That just happens. Do I have a problem with it? No, but you have to realize that is the exception. That, yeah, we rooted for the protagonist and something, and we don't talk about like Pumpkinhead, where the monster is the protagonist or something like that, so we don't root for the monster normally, And sometimes we root for the people to die because they are bad people and all of their actions are questionable, and the monster is just cool. Friday the 13th and all that kind of stuff. That's understandable, but that's not the main point. The base for a horror movie is that there is the monster, there is the protagonist kills monster. This absolutely works. Because you are human. I'm sorry, but in some kind of sense, you are still human. So you can relate to the human. So when the human survives, you survive. It's just on the core level, on the very oversimplified level. That's the gist of it. And that's a very strong thing in the core, like the human core. Call it a soul or mindset or emotional, I don't even care. So, but let's take somewhere where the protagonist is transformed into a monster, or at least not human. Do I have a problem here? No, not really. I mean, but let's go through what are the options. Protagonist or becoming not human, like the Thing. Are any of them the Thing at the end? In its core, the movie's core, who knows? You just don't. But even the crew told, here are the clues, these were the intention of the cinematographer, the cameraman and all that. The black guy is obviously, because it was 80s America, way in the racist generation. Sure. Does it matter in the end? No, because they both die. So, there is the protagonist loses kind of trope. But, sure, fine. And at the same time, the protagonist also won. So, that's all fine. Or the other option is, like Jeff Goldblum's The Fly, or The Man with the X-Ray Eyes. Their story is tragic. they become something ugly, monstrous, and their story is tragic, and they die at the end. Or lose if you want. Sometimes the protagonist is just locked into some mental institution. That's, that's the basic thing. That's the setup thing where the story is going in the horror genre. And there is one more. There is one more option. Where the protagonist transforms, but during obviously fighting monsters. If you want to call it demons. Let's oversee it. Get there. Okay. In this version, even if the protagonist transforms into the same kind of monster, we know that the protagonist will still have his or her or its conscience within the monster's body, so it's not that kind of monster. But sometimes they literally become another type of being. I don't know, Final Fantasy the movie did something like that, I guess. They are scanned. If you want, they become an angel, if we are very oversimplify this. But that's an ascension. That's a discansion. Ascension. So they become more than human, but not lose their humanity. They don't lose the attributes that make them the hero. Now, what does this have to do with the folk horror subgenre? Let's take this Heresy thing, or The Witch. In both movies, sure, the protagonist is female, who cares, that's irrelevant. The more important thing is they are hated in their community. What does this tell us about humanity? Sure, we associate with the protagonist because they are abused. But we recognize the village as the community. And the village is evil. So humanity, in these movies, as the basic premise, is evil. Do you want to watch that movie? I don't think so. Not a sane mind. That's my position. I said it. I have no script. I'm really just looking at the poster of this. See? That's what I see. That's all I see. For all this time. Okay. But both in The Witch and Heresy and whatever you want to call it, finds community in the supernatural. Is this supernatural intent to fix the situation? You know, like in a normal horror movie. Nope. Whatever force they are associating themselves with, you know, the protagonist, in Midsommer, the cult in the village, in The Witch, the act, Satan or whatever, she sold her soul to Satan and then to become a witch, right? So in Heresy, it's some demons in the woods. I call them demons, despite being some folk entities. I don't care, they are demons. They are lingering around, the forest is thought to be cursed, they kill people. They are demons. They are the vampire things. And the protagonist, both in The Witch or Midsommer or Heresy, becomes one of them. This is not an ask engine. This is a disc engine. The protagonist becomes a demon. You know what happened? When Lance Henriksen in Pumpkinhead realized he became a demon in his self-righteousness, he killed himself. What happens in folk horror with the protagonists? They just procreate like Shub-Niggurath, the goat in the forest with 1,000 kids. What the fuck are we doing? So I didn't like these. They were long, boring, the pacing sucked, the story sucked, everything was surface level for me. But I always had this visceral repulsion towards the subgenre. Now I know why.